Vivians. So now that that's kind of out of the way, hi, my name's Ella. I'm 17 years old and I'm from San Diego. And I'm the head of Project Aquascope. And today is week 2 of our summer seminar series, and we have some truly wonderful speakers here today. So we're super excited. Now my team is going to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Vivian. I'm also 17.
Hi, I'm Richard, and I'm 16.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm also 17.
Yeah, so just for anyone who is new to our program this week, Project Aquascope's mission is to provide greater accessibility to STEM education and to inspire a spirit of environmental sustainability among youth, empowering them to be change makers in their own communities. So before we begin, we wanted to give a shout out to a local organization similar to ours in Mission, who has helped us to outreach for this event. So Tavisha, take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Tavisha and I'm the founder and president of Sustainable San Diego. Sustainable San Diego is a local youth-led organization dedicated to promoting environmental sustainability and active passion. We're committed to improving sustainability by inspiring our community to be more informed about sustainable practices through the use of compiling useful resources, blog posts, educational content, and educational events. Thank you, Project Aquascope.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Tavisha. Now, Vivian's going to go over the schedule for today really briefly.
Yep, so in a couple so right now we're in our introductions and welcoming you all to the second week of our event. And then in a couple of minutes, we'll be having our first speaker, Jeremiah, speak about his project, Optim Energy, and all the other initiatives he's participated in. And then from 10:20 to 10:50, so after Jeremiah speaks, we'll have Laya speak about her project, Sustainable Solutions, and everything that she's done to help the environment. And then from 10:55 to 11, we'll just have closing statements and invite all of you to our week 3 event. And also for all of our speakers, we'll have at least 10 minutes Q&A after their presentations. So feel free to kind of formulate questions that you might have for them, and then we'll definitely go over them. And now Lily will introduce our first speaker.
Okay, so our first speaker is Jeremiah Thoronka. Jeremiah Thoronka, a 2020 global teen leader, used his skills in science to develop Optim Energy, an innovative piezoelectric device that harnesses energy from heat, vibrations, and weather, all which naturally occur in the environment, to create affordable, accessible, and clean power. Since 2017, Jeremiah has grown Optim Energy into a larger initiative aiming to build a sustainable energy sector in Sierra Leone, diminish greenhouse gas emissions, and educate citizens on climate change. Jeremiah was recognized as a 2019 United Nations Academic Impact and Millennium Campus Network Fellow and invited to speak at the 2019 African Leadership University School of Wildlife Conservation Conference. Jeremiah is on a mission to rewrite the African energy access narrative by providing clean, affordable energy to the entire continent.
So I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm tempted to say good evening because then it's really late for my end. I hope each and every one of you is doing well. Maybe in just one word, just tell me how you're feeling so we can get the energy going. Let's just use 1 minute. Hello, everyone. Now everybody knows my name is Jeremiah. I'll not spend time on that again. So yeah, we go to the chat box and just tell me in 1 or 2 words how you're feeling right now. Excited? Cool? What's up? What's up? What's going on? What's going on, guys? Who wants to start the ball rolling? Hello? Okay. Grateful, excited. Okay, feeling excited. Okay, I love the energy. Okay, guys. So people, we're gonna go into the presentations. Hello again, everyone. I'm Jeremiah Thoronka, as you all have heard. I'm the founder of Optim Energy Group. So what we do, our slogan is we bring you clean and affordable energy. And it's really nice to be here today. Thank you so much, guys, for giving me audience. So we're gonna go into the presentations. If you have any questions, just find a way to pen them down, and after the presentations, you can shoot me with your questions. Anything relating to renewable energy and climate change, I'll be very much happy to answer your questions, concerns, and queries. Okay, so we go to the next slide. This is like a brief background on the Sierra Leone energy and environment landscape. So basically, in brief introduction, like since 1990 to 2015, Sierra Leone has lost over like 19,000 of its forest cover, which is like 12.6%. And then energy has been like a key driver of this deforestation, this 19,000 acres of land that the country has lost. Then again, currently biomass is the major contributor to the Sierra Leone energy landscape, wherein most of the energy produced or that is consumed, the primary source is biomass. Then as well as the per capita energy consumption in Sierra Leone has not been encouraging as well. Sorry guys, my screen is misbehaving. Okay, we are good. So the per capita energy consumption in the country has not been encouraging as well, wherein many people in the country, plus or minus, don't currently have access to energy. Guys, I'm sorry, I need to rearrange my screen. Okay, now we are good to go. So that's like the major challenge, wherein the average energy production in the country is like 36 kilowatts per hour on average per every citizen. So this is like the major energy background of Sierra Leone, wherein most of the people don't have access to energy, and then forest cover are being lost, and as well as biomass is dominating the market. Then in addition to energy being like the key driver of the current environmental issues in the country. So that's it. And in another words, as well as Sierra Leone also contribute like 0.02% towards like the global emission, which is, even though it's small, but then that's also a contribution that we should consider in tackling the country. So we'll go to the next slide. Yep. So these are like the challenges and that Optim Energy is leveraging on. One, high cost of energy production and consumption. Energy production in Sierra Leone and most places in Africa is considered among the highest in the world, wherein it's mostly being subsidized by government, which is not sustainable. That's one. And secondly, the cost of consuming energy on the continent is very, very much expensive. On average, like for example, in Sierra Leone, it goes up to $0.14, and in other places on the continent, it goes as high as $0.62. So, and as well as another challenge we are going to leverage on is like the environmental challenges that the current production in the country brings, and as well as the need to cut down forest cover, and as well as like the current environmental challenges the country is being faced with, which is like being derived by the fact that there is a loss of forest cover, and as well as biomass dominating the market. The third challenge that Optim Energy is leveraging on is the fact that the current energy system in the country is outdated. Most of the systems are systems that the country started using in the 1970s, 1960s. They are very much outdated, and then due to the outdated systems, there is currently like very poor service delivery, wherein the systems are not efficient. There is a huge loss of energy during production and during distribution. Wherein 2016, 2017, there was a research done, and the result was like up to 60% of the energy produced in Sierra Leone is being unaccounted for. Where is it going? Nobody knows. But then everybody knows like the systems cannot withstand the current sector dynamics or the current shift or changes that is happening in the sector. So we move away from there. Next slide. So this is the current situation, elaborating on what I've just said again. The generating capacity of the country, Sierra Leone, is 99.6 megawatts, which is way smaller on most countries in the Western Hemisphere, and this is energy that one industry in the US consumes. And again, in most places around Europe, there are a lot of companies or industry that consume twice or thrice than what Sierra Leone is currently producing. Then the current access rate, plus or minus, is 13%, but then a lot of research has shown it's 11%, but then the government is saying 13%, so we go with 13%. So for this 13% in urban areas, 11% of people in urban areas in the country do have access to energy. Then in rural areas, it goes as low as 2%. And then in calculating like the total number of people or households who don't have access to energy, it's very high, 87%. That's a very big number, which is like 5.8 million of the population. The total population of the country is 7 million. Cost of energy is very much high. It goes up to like $0.60 dollars per kilowatt hour, which is among the highest in the world. Is very crazy considering the country's renewable energy potential. And but then why are they spending this huge amount of money on biomass and fossil fuels to give access to energy? And yeah, we go to the next slide. So this is like the context of the problem Optim Energy is leveraging on. So now this is Optim Energy, and you may have heard an introduction wherein Optim Energy is like this innovative kind of company wherein we use piezoelectric systems in harnessing energy from heat and vibrations in the community, and in making sure like we utilize the energy produced by the population and giving them access to affordable and clean energy along the way. However, we also leverage on the fact that the current energy systems are not efficient. So what Optim Energy is doing, we just don't develop like an efficient system that we use to produce the energy, but then we also want to see how we can build upon a grid system that we call the Optim Energy Smart Grid System, wherein it's a system that we made up of a lot of sensors and innovative materials that will be able to utilize all the energy that will be produced, and during distribution that will be able to transmit an efficient rate of up to 99.9%. Right, so that's what Optim Energy is. We produce energy which is clean and affordable from the population, then we transmit it using like a smart grid system that will cut down the amount of energy loss the country is currently facing. So we move to the next slide. Yes, so this is Optim Energy. So don't mind like the graphics. Don't mind the graphics. So this is Optim Energy, and the speaker or the megaphone is symbolizing like why we're making the noise, why the hype, or why the noise. Okay, so one will give you like access to clean and affordable energy. Our production system is very much affordable, so it's sustainable, considering the fact that the world is currently running the world is running out of fossil fuel. Most of the fossil fuel reserves are being gone down. I don't know if you guys are following like what happened with BP a couple of days ago, wherein they reported a quarter loss of up to 16 billion. So like now even companies who were into fossil fuel production are now moving away from fossil fuel production and trying to invest in renewable. So our own system is very much sustainable. People always move, vibration will always happen. So the energy source will always be there, hence that people exist. Okay, our energy system is clean because then we're using a system that utilizes all the energy, and then that leaves zero space for like emission and as well as waste product. Then our technology is 21st century, so which is very much a plus to places where we'll be operating. Then as well as we are environmentally friendly, we don't give out CO2 gases, and all our systems are developed in a way wherein the environment is at the center of our production. And also our consuming with our consumers. Okay, so this is why you should listen to Optim Energy, or why you should use our product. Okay, we move away from there. Next slide. Yes, why Optim? We are environmentally friendly. Our system is clean, efficient. So let me elaborate more on the efficiency. Earlier on, I told you guys like Sierra Leone at times loses up to 60% of the total energy that is produced in the country. So our system will be able to cut down that loss to up to upgrading. Is it upgrading or cutting down that loss? Yeah, cutting down that loss, and resulting in a 99.9 efficiency in the grid. The reason why we will not be able to reach 100% efficiency, there is no system is 100% efficient. So that's the highest we can go, and which is like the highest out there. So, and in terms of efficiency, we also have like a lot of side projects that we'll be bringing to our consumers in promoting energy efficiency. Because then one thing we realized is the fact that we'll be able to produce all the energy in this world, right? And we'll be able to produce like energy to give everybody on the planet energy. But then the big question will be, how efficient will those systems be, right? We can produce energy from the sun, right? But then, however, there will come a time when there will be variation in the weather condition. So how are we going to make sure like when we produce energy, people consume it responsibly? So currently I'm also working on a capstone project that I aim to also incorporate into Optim Energy, wherein we'll have like a platform wherein people will go and calculate like how efficient their home is and how efficient they've been utilizing their systems. So, and affordability, currently people can spend up to $0.60 per kilowatt hour on energy, which is very much crazy, considering the fact that in Southeast Asia, they spend as low as $0.21 in some places, and as low as 0.1111. Yeah, there's no 11. $0.11 per kilowatt hour in some places. So, and considering the fact that African Sierra Leone in particular have a very huge renewable energy potential, why can't we utilize it? So it's very much crazy for us to spend that much on energy. So our goal is to provide clean and affordable energy. That's at the center of our mission and vision. As we provide those clean and affordable energy, along the way we also transform all the energy systems available in the country. Then we scale up to Africa and try to see how we can build upon the already systems that is in other places, and trying to see how we can make those systems more efficient. We go to the next slide. Yes. So this is like doing our prototyping. This has been like our contribution towards the sustainable development goals. So when we started prototyping, we realized that we emit like zero waste zero waste into the environment, which indirectly we contributing in solving like the climate change goal of the SDGs. Then we've also been able to provide reliable, resilience, and a sustainable means of energy production, which is like we tackling like SDG 7. Then as well as we've also been able to diversify the current energy landscape. Currently, I told you guys like 80% of the market is dominated by biomass and fossil fuel. So by using Optim Energy, we've been able to diversify like the production, which indirectly will solving the innovation industrialization challenge of the SDGs. So these are some of the things we've noticed during the prototyping and up to now. However, we've also realized that we are also contributing to other sub goals, but then these are like the three prominent ones that we've done monitoring and evaluation, and we know by data that we've contributed to directly within Sierra Leone. But then we also have other goals that we are impacting indirectly. But then these are the three ones that we focused on at the moment. So we go to the next slide. Yes. So the presentation is short. However, since like most of my life is into energy and climate change, so this is the time if you have questions in regards to like Optim Energy or the climate change fiasco going on, or the energy issues all over the place, this is the time you can ask me questions, and I will try to answer to the best of my knowledge. Thank you so much for your decorum and audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeremiah. If anyone has any questions, feel free to, like, as I said before, on mic or drop them in the chat and I'll read them out. Right off the bat, I have a question for you. How did you get involved in, renewable energy in the first place? Like, how did you first learn about piezoelectronic devices and things like that?
So this is a tough one. So basically, like I used to live like before 2017, I used to live in the eastern part of Freetown, which is like the capital. So I used to move like from the eastern part to like the dead west for my school. So and during those time, I realized like it's like I'm moving between two worlds, right? When I go to school in the west, like it's a nice place, energy is there, you can do anything with it. But then when I'm returning home, it's like total darkness, like energy is not there available. So now I'm trying to bridge like those two worlds, and also realizing like some of the challenges in that local community where deforestation like was happening at a very higher pace. Many people who were using like biofuel or fossil biofuel or wood, right, to get access to energy for different reasons. We're also having a lot of medical complications. And then like I witnessed a lot of incidences wherein people will be studying with candles, then they will doze off, then the candle will fall on the bed, then a lot of people lose their life along the way, houses got burnt. So trying to solve all those challenges in that community got me thinking of how I can contribute towards making energy affordable in that place. So the first thing we did was I formed a team called the BIPOC Scientists. So I was in high school, 2014, 2016, I was in high school. So what we did was we developed like what we call a mini hydro and windmill dam. So what the dam does was, so in the community there was a running river. So the dam was installed in that particular community, and we were able to provide access to energy. And the windmill, even though like we were only able to provide like 250 volts, but then we were able to solve like a major energy challenge where a lot of the kids were initially using like candles, a local source of energy called like pan lamp, kerosene, etc. Switch to that energy, because then all of them will convey in one place in the evening, then they will go through like their materials, and we're also able to indirectly influence like the amount of academic standard in the community, because now people don't have to spend too much time going up mountain, finding charcoal and etc. etc. But then, however, during like Sierra Leone has variation in seasons where you have like the Harmattan period, which is like very cold, but then it's dry. Then you have like the dry season where it's super dry. Then you have the raining season. So during those transition, we realized like during the transition from the raining season to the dry season, we realized the water level went down. So the dam was not providing the amount of energy that we needed. So we started brainstorming on how we can use a system, because then we can't afford to buy fuel. That's one is fact. Yeah, we can't afford it. So we started thinking of how to develop another system that can function regardless of the weather, the amount of money we have in our pocket. So the idea of the free energy generator came up. So how the free energy generator works was traditional generator, we removed all the systems. Then we incorporated like our own system. That idea was born from the fact that my family used to have like a radio that you rewind. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those kind of radios. They don't use batteries, you rewind them, then the kinetic energy that you uses goes into the radio, and it powers the radio. So we use that same technology to develop that generator. The generator was able to provide the energy same way as the dam was producing, even better. But then the issue we had was like the battery system within the generator was not able to like store the energy. So as soon as you produce it, you have to consume it in the next 24 hours. So along the line, that was how we were like, okay, so how can we upgrade the system? So that's how Optim Energy came about. I studied sciences in my high school, and then I used to have like crazy friends around me who were like mad into sciences. And my classroom would be like the last place you want to go. because it looks like a dustbin. Dustbin in the sense, whatever thing we see along the way, we'll bring it to class and try to open it up and see what is inside. So that's how like the curiosity in renewable energy and passion goes.
Awesome. That's so interesting. I guess I have another question for you. You mentioned that you're doing a capstone project at your university. Can you expand on that a little bit? How are you hoping to like integrate that into Optim Energy, and yeah, what's the process look like for your capstone research?
Oh, so initially I wanted to carry out a capstone project called the Sierra Leone Student Energy and Conservation Schools Program, wherein I'll go to Sierra Leone. Currently I'm studying in Rwanda. When I go to Sierra Leone and try to see how I can, because, okay, let me expand on that project so you can have a clear understanding. So basically, like in most schools in Sierra Leone, they've been cut off from the national grid because they've been unable to pay their bills, energy bills. So, and one of the major challenges is like those tiny habits of leaving the bulbs on, plugging things unnecessary, is causing like a huge energy bill at the end of the day for those schools. So I wanted to go to those schools and try to see how I can organize like debate competitions, essay writing competition, help like taking the kids and us conducting like a real lifetime audit and see how our tiny habits of us switching off the bulbs or switching off like the socket and taking those tiny habits home, we'll see either if like bills, energy bills will either continue going up or it will be stagnated or it will go down. So that was the research I initially wanted to do for my capstone. Then the almighty Corona came. When the almighty Corona came, I have to rethink on what I want to do. So I was like, okay, I can still create that awareness, or I can still influence the decisions or the tiny habits of those people by developing a platform wherein you calculate like depending on how long you use your laptop for and against like the average energy consumption per laptop, and as well as how long you plugged it for on the socket. So you'll be able to know like if like we need 10 planets for you alone, or if we need like 50 planets for you, or if you are the kind of people that we need to tackle, as in we need to talk to and tell, okay, it's your laptop, you have the money to pay the bills, but then what if instead of you to be plugging your laptop every 5 minutes, right? Why can't you leave it to be fully charged? Then when it's 20%, you plug it again. I've seen a lot of my friends where they'll plug their laptop from morning till evening, and the laptop don't even have a battery issue. So the platform aims to like solve some of those are tiny habits when we keep ourselves in check. And then the catch again of that platform is the fact that when you calculate like how efficient your product is, we'll be able on average to tell you how much energy, how much money you will be able to save, right? If you only charge your laptop 2 times per day, 3 times per day. People want money, right? So us telling you your current habit, you are losing like $30 per month, $200 per month, but then if you start doing it like this, you'll be able to save $300 per month, you'll be able to save $400 per month. Nobody wants to lose any money, so people will buy into the idea. So putting it in their context as well and making them see it like, making them know like we are not coercing them to change their habits, but then making them realize there is need for them to change their habits if they want to save and live in a conducive environment. So that's how the online energy efficiency calculator came about, which will be directly incorporated into the efficiency aspect of Optim Energy. So we can provide you access to energy, but then we'll also give you like a side product that will be offering and will encourage you. You can pay for our energy, yes, we know, but then if you live like an efficient life, you give us less pressure to be sending energy. You create like less energy intensity on the grid, and as well as you make us expand to other places and store more energy for the long run. So that's how it is.
That's so helpful. I've actually never really thought of anything like a calculator, and I think that people here would like really be interested in that as well, because you're right, everyone wants to save money. Yeah, please feel free to like put the links in the chat or whatever. but
I'm not yet done developing it. So I'm meeting again the developer tomorrow because then I can't do everything on my own. So I did like the content, the calculations, how it should be done. So but then I have somebody who has like advanced skills than me in web development. That's again one thing I have to tell everybody here today. There are things that you can do all by yourself. If you say you do everything by yourself, you get tired and you get so fed up with everything. So leverage on the skills of people around you and try to see how they can buy into your idea and then how you can work together. They may never be interested in what you are doing, but then their skills is very much valuable in making you reach your goal. Okay? So never scared to ask for help as well, guys.
awesome. One question we have in the chat is, what are some other easy and often overlooked ways to reduce energy consumption?
One of them, one of the most efficient ways, and one of the most cost efficient ways, be it from the production angle and from the consumption angle, it's energy efficiency and conservation, right? A lot of time we've seen governments will tell you, energy and the energy demand is growing, like a lot of people want energy, so we're going to build a new site, we're going to sponsor like a new deal in well, it will never help. Let me give you guys an example. Ethiopia, the government earlier this year, they spent up to $100 million. No, sorry, they spent $6 million, right? $6 million. Guess what did they buy?
What?
Those fluorescent bulbs. They spent $6 million on fluorescent bulbs alone. They distributed it to the population, right? And when they distributed it to the population, initially the energy level was going up, right? The government was supposed to spend $100 million in building new facilities to meet that demand. But when they spend that $6 million in just fluorescent bulbs and encourage the people to switch from those old lighting systems they were using to those fluorescent bulbs, the government was able to save an extra $100 million from production cost, and as well as saving the initial $100 million that initially they wanted to use to build that new facility. So they didn't build any new facility, and then they still have excess energy left. So why can't we use like the energy efficient angle? So your tiny habits are the things that we overlook most of the time. You may be in your room, your bulb is on, you're on your phone, you're on your laptop. How many lights do you need? Your laptop is also emitting some amount of light for you to see what you're typing. Why do you need like all the bulbs in the house? Your backyard light is on, your bathroom light is on, your everywhere, kitchen. If you're not using them, switch them off. Appliances, you may switch off the appliance, yes, but then if the cable is connected to the socket, energy is circulating within the device. Disconnect them if you're not using them. Don't leave them like that. Those tiny habits, if we start doing them, you check your energy bills, you see it going down to some extent. So those are tiny habits, are things that we've oversighted. Thinking us building more energy facilities will help us become more efficient, or building solar panels, no, they will not help us. The more we continue building those facilities and we continue with these same habits, the future will not be that bright as we expected.
Wonderful. Okay, so another question that we have in the chat is, how have you dealt with setbacks in your activism / journey, and what has kept you motivated and hopeful in the face of those obstacles? Yeah.
So like a personal decision that I've made is like, I'll live my life in making sure like people don't go through like the same challenges that I went through when I was a kid, right? Considering all those hurdles, moving from that eastern part to the western part, where you're studying with firewood, right? Those are the things that makes me, whenever I see some of those photos around the continent of kids studying with those things, I get more motivated to see there's a lot I can do, right? But then, however, I need to start somewhere. I know, yeah, the energy field is one of the most challenging. You meet some people that, like, there was a time I was having a discussion with one of the top officials in the energy sector in Sierra Leone. I was telling him it's very disgraceful for a country to bring in ship to provide access to energy, right? When we have a lot of ways we can produce energy for ourselves. $1 million per month, it may be small for the government, but then that's like taxpayers' money. If we invest that in other channels, like we'll be able to provide a lot of energy over 3 or 4 or 5 times what that ship is producing for us. And that ship is using diesel. Then the guy told me, like, what do I know? So you see, those are challenges that we face when people in power or people who are currently holding positions think maybe because I don't have a master's degree, or maybe I'm still a student, or I'm a young guy, like I can tell them something that is not taught about. But then, however, even though they bash at us, tells us, oh, this young generation, they don't respect their elders, all those sort of things. But then it's seen like the real life situation, and also my own experience, right? And how my family went through all those challenges. I don't think I will have to give up at any point.
Awesome. So I think this is going to be our last question. How were you able to like raise funds for your initial like development?
So like access to fund has been crazy, like it's super crazy. So like my late mom, right, her soul rest in peace. She was like the backbone, like she would sell stuff in the house to give me that money and see how I can buy cables, buy stuff. And as well as like my school, to some extent, they were able to give us like a space. I told you like my classroom will be the last place on this earth that you want to visit. So our school was like, okay, we can't give you guys funding, but then feel free to do whatever you want to do. So our classroom became like a lab. We'll put whatever we want to do. Then as well as like when they'll be doing construction, we also go around searching for things in the dustbin. Wherever we can scavenge something, we bring it to the classroom. Then along the way, we were able to meet like a platform called Innovate Sierra Leone, wherein they used to have like a competition called In Challenge. It's like the biggest innovation competition in Sierra Leone. And they liked us. They were like, okay, let's take part. So the first money that I received was $50. Yeah, $50, which is like 500,000 leons. It was big, like 2014, that money was big. So we scavenged around, plus we went to shop. I can be like the worst person you can ever negotiate with. Even if you say I pay $50 for something, I can start by paying $0.5. So we used the $50. We bought some couple of appliances that we needed, plus what my mom can provide. We were able to provide like that dam, that mini dam. And then one thing again that I've leveraged on is the fact that wherever I am, right, I also make sure like people take ownership, right? Ownership in the sense wherein they contribute whatever they want to contribute, right? The aim of Optim Energy is not to utilize like profit. We're not focusing on returns. We're focusing on impact. We're focusing on how many people will be able to provide access to energy for. So if you can, like, there was a time when I had a mentor of mine who gave me like $100, which was big. I was like, I did the calculation and I told him, you're giving like $100. From this $100, 20 families will be able to have access to energy. So those are some of the things we've been doing, and as well as my own personal funds. That's why I'm always broke. So like always like family, me, people around me that buy into my idea can always chip in, then we get it going. So that's how we don't have any staff, nobody's paid. If you're interested in impact, and as well as if you're passionate about climate change and energy, if you're not convenient with your community and trying to see how you can better it, then Optim is the best place for you to be. Thank you so much, guys, for giving me the call.
Thank you so much for talking and sharing your story. And we will be sure to put all of your links on our website so people can learn more about you. But again, thank you so much. Next, we're gonna introduce our next speaker, Laya. So I'll share my screen for her bio real quick. Thank you again, Jeremiah.
Can I disappear now?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Hope to catch up with you all soon. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll share my screen.
So now we're going to introduce Laya. Laya, a 2020 Global Teen Leader and National Geographic 2020 Young Explorer, decided to apply her interest in science to create environmental solutions accessible to everyone. She's currently working on the project Energy Efficient Harvesting of Locust Swarms as a renewable high nutrient resource with significant climate remediation co-benefits in collaboration with Harvard University. Previously, Laya has worked on several projects, including the strengthening of the aquatic mangrove ecosystem, developing low vehicular exhaust filter, a system to generate electricity from organic substances with the potential to control improper waste disposal and reduce industrial pollution, and a sustainable way to replace plastics with four-dimensional printing of ceramics. Her various innovations earned Laya the 2016 National Child Award for Exceptional Achievements, given to her by former President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee. In 2019, she was also recognized by the State Bank of India as 20 under 20 promising game changer. And she also had the opportunity to meet President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovind. So take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen so you can.
Can you see my screen? Okay. So, as you know, I'm Laya, and I'm going to talk about sustainable solutions. Firstly, about me, I'm currently doing mechanical engineering at NTU Singapore, and all my previous education was in India. And coming to my work, I'm a researcher, and most of my research focuses on providing sustainable solutions with affordable alternatives. So my innovations are mostly about providing cheaper and accessible things that are also eco-friendly, so that people from all sorts of backgrounds could be able to afford to buy them and use them actually and implement in their lives. And here are some of the few important projects that I've done, and I'll discuss about them here. So in 2013, when I was 12 years old, I did a project called City Agriculture. It wasn't that great. It was just like growing crops in your homes on the terrace and stuff. So it's just like urban agriculture. I did that for National Children's Science Congress, but I didn't make it to the state level then. And then in 2014, I worked on a low-cost vehicular exhaust filter. So it is a filter that is made from eco-friendly materials like agar-agar and the cheap plastic bottles, renewable bottles that are available, so that everybody could afford them. And after that, in 2015, I again participated in National Children's Science Congress, but this time about mangrove ecosystem, and it was strengthening the mangrove ecosystem because they have aerial roots which absorb more carbon dioxide. So I wrote a research paper about how they could avoid floods in times of natural disasters, and how they are helpful and they shouldn't be cut down. And that time I made it to the state level and national level, and somehow I won at Indian Science Congress. And in 2016, I worked on microbial fuel cell. It is system that generates electricity and water from organic substrates. And for this project, I was titled as budding scientist, and later I was given National Child Award, as they've already told in Manju. And in 2017, I actually started preparing for college and doing International Mathematics Olympiad, and I won few medals there. In 2018, I got into mechanical engineering at NTU, and I won University at 20 and 20. In 2019, based on my academic performance, I got the opportunity to join undergraduate research experience on campus at NTU. So I got to work with Prof. Hortensi about 4D printing of ceramics. So this project is about replacing the plastics, hydrogels that are being used in 3D printing and rather replace them with a sustainable material like natural clay or bamboo fibers. So I was working on the composition of the particular ceramic mixture. And after that, I also worked as a group leader for engineering innovation design for a project called Footle. It is just a simple mechanical design to prevent communicable diseases due to the COVID situation. But during 2020, I landed on an important project. It is energy efficient harvesting of locust swarms as a renewable high nutrient resource with significant climate remediation co-benefits. Yeah, it's a very long name, but I'll just break it down to you. It's basically about insects called locusts, which actually breed to form into a swarm. And they form into like a very large swarm and attack the agricultural crops. And the reason I chose this project is that there has been a very massive locust attack that is the worst in the past century. That has been from December 2019. It has attacked African countries and also East Asian countries. In countries like Somalia and Kenya, like 100% and 70% of agricultural crops were destroyed. But the COVID situation made it worse. People were not willing to take the flights. The pilots were not willing to go and give them food. So people actually started dying out of hunger. There was a situation of famine. So when I read about like this situation, I was like, okay, this is something maybe I could work on because you also notice like the weather change patterns because of the global warming. And I was trying to like provide a connection between both of them, and also like the only method that is used to control locusts right now is insecticides. But when insecticides or pesticides are used from aerial vehicles or manual spraying, most of the chemicals are landed on the food we eat, or they end up in non-target species like birds, fish, cattle, or human beings ourselves. So I thought like there should be more technological proposals because of the rapid technology evolving right now. So I started working on this project, and I collaborated with a professor from Harvard University. And thankfully, like I received funding from National Geographic for my research because I was selected as a National Geographic Young Explorer, as we've already told you. So currently, like what I am trying to do with the locusts is that I'm trying to use them as an energy resource, as a food resource, because as I've been studying the nutritional facts about locusts, they have enough protein as 70% of beef that you consume, and they have enough fibers, and they don't have any harmful effects on the digestive system of human beings. So I think they would be a good replacement for food. Even if humans are not willing to take them as food, maybe we can just use it for cattle or hens or any other living forms. And I also want to assess the feasibility and efficiency of these harvesting strategies. Like maybe we can just use large nets that are operated by drones to capture most of the swarms, or use microwaves or heat that can focus on the light or heat sensitive part of locusts so that they don't reproduce or don't attack the agricultural crops. And also these locusts are cannibal creatures that have collective movements. So one locust moves in the direction the locust that in front is moving. So what I intend to do is produce robotic locusts in the opposite direction, so it'll just distract or deviate them from the path, so that the impact could be lesser, because no idea can be crazy, right? So that is just an idea. And one tip here I'm going to give is be solution driven. Consider all the possible solutions. Like I told, most of these may not be possible, but just write down, because maybe who knows, it'll just give you a new perspective of viewing the problem. And here, the mission behind it is like when these proposals are assessed, I intend to view it as an energy resource which is efficient instead of viewing it as a threat or harm for humans. And also, I want to understand like if any percentage of CO2 or methane emission can be reduced because of using locust swarms, because the agriculture won't be destroyed, and also like the food is being replaced with locusts, so there should be some reduction in the methane emissions. And I also want to seek the experimental validation if these proposals can actually be implemented with the help of any industrial collaborators. So the main mission is to like create a win-win situation, just turn this threat into something efficient or useful for energy. And yeah, as I said, no idea is crazy enough to protect the planet. So list down every thought that comes to your mind, and then just work on the probability, like which might be successful and which might work and which might be implementable. And the story, like why I chose working on all these sustainable solutions, is like my younger brother suffers from Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And when I was 12 years old, like we went to the hospital and the doctors told like my brother muscles keep like will be weakening, and he has to be in a very clean and fresh environment so that his breath rate will be controlled. So then my mom started like cleaning everything because it used to be so dusty because of all the pollution and traffic in my area, because I come from capital Andhra Pradesh, Vijayawada. Then I started like looking up on the internet about like why is the environment being polluted and stuff. And then when I started looking, I saw like millions of ideas pop out of internet, but I was so I had so many questions like why are they not being implemented? Why are they just confined to internet or the web? So I started working on sustainability projects that could be actually affordable or accessible and something people will try to implement in their daily life instead of like just confining to the paper or a science fair. So how do you upscale your project? I would suggest like just keep updated on ongoing work so that you can collaborate or get new ideas from what others are doing, and always look out for your opportunities. Networking and social media presence is really important for this. I have to tell you, like one day I suddenly woke up and I got an email from National Geographic, and then I was like, okay, what is going on? And they told me like someone actually recommended like, okay, I like the work she's doing. Maybe you should give her a chance and fund her. So I would say like networking and social media presence is really important. Just try to keep updated and aware of your work to the people. So who knows, maybe like what opportunity might pop out. And I strongly recommend you to have some implementation plans. Like I said, don't confine to a research paper. Try to make a change or make a difference, because that's really important, as I feel. And keep reflecting on your timeline so that you'll have an idea about your progress that you're making on your project. And yeah, tip, work for your purpose, not the outputs, not the intended results. And just focus on like why you chose your project and what is the main issue that has been bothering you. Like people keep asking me, you're in mechanical engineering and you're studying about locust, which is related to biology, and you've worked on agriculture and forest. So what is the link? What is the field that you work in? And I'm just like, I don't know. My purpose is to like just save the environment and provide sustainable solutions, whatever I can do. So there's no proper field. I think my purpose is something that connects everything, and I would really say like find your purpose that should come from within you, and you'll just start working for it. And the difficulties I faced during my project were time management, because I just kept jumping from one project to the other, as I already told. And balancing school and co-curriculars was also like really difficult, and social life. Yeah, sometimes I want to post like, you know, a cute picture on Instagram, and sometimes I'm like, no, you gotta make change. I want to like create awareness. So this dilemma always was the difficulty I had. And conservative society. I remember like being a girl from India, everybody was like, no, girls are not usually supposed to do mechanical engineering. It's something for boys because you're a girl and you can't travel alone at such a young age everywhere, like by yourself. You're supposed to be protected and adjusting to the environment. Maybe like when I moved to Singapore from India, or when I kept traveling to science fairs across India, I found it like it's difficult to adjust to the environment when the people are not same every day. They keep changing like every month. Like the people I keep spending time other than my family, and obviously there's stress and anxiety, like how I'm going to do, what I'm going to do, why am I doing this. And the tip is, don't be afraid like someone is going to judge about what you're going to do, because in the end, like nothing else will matter as far as you're working for your purpose. So the me inside me is me. I will be. And how I overcame these difficulties is like, as you saw, I kept working on one project for like 1.5 years. So be less ambitious and focus on one thing. So you'll have to like put your heart into like one thing. And studies are definitely important. So you'll have to balance your education somehow and be you. Don't be afraid to like someone is going to judge, and try to work on your problem that comes within you. As I told, your heart knows its passion. So you find a problem that you can relate to or something that's bothering you. And as I said, like when you keep moving from one place to another, just try to like have that human connection, have that networking, as I've said, because it will be really helpful for the opportunities you're gonna have. And panicking is good. I know this sounds weird, but sometimes some panic is good because you're getting work done, right? If you're having that stress, you'll get work done with that stress. So I think it's good sometimes, and it is okay to take hops of faith instead of leaps of faith. So you don't have to like make sudden decisions. You can make like one change, and you don't need to rush. As far as you're focusing on what you're doing it and you're doing it wholeheartedly, it shouldn't matter. And coming to BIPOC in STEM or sustainability, okay, here's a small story I would like to tell you. When I was in Indian Science Congress, so I was at like this booth where I was presenting my project, and I was 14 years old. There was a lot of crowd that was attracted to my mangrove forest project, and I was like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna inspire people. Everybody is gonna come to science fairs. There were so many kids. I was just like so excited, and I was explaining them. And suddenly, like, my teacher comes and says, "Laya, what did you do?" And then I'm like, okay, what did I do? And then the judges came, but then they were like very annoyed that I didn't realize that the judges came and I didn't explain them. So they just left my booth. They didn't judge my project. So all my teachers, my parents, my friends, all the co-participants were like very worried. And then they were like, you did all the hard work, but you didn't get the fruit of it. And I didn't know if I should cry, if I should yell, or what I should do. But what I thought was, the purpose of a science fair is to like explain to the crowd to make them interested about science. So what I thought was I need to stand up for myself. I walked to the judges and I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't realize you, but I was just explaining them, please give me another chance. And they actually came back, heard to my project, and I was the winner, and that led me a national award. So when you feel like the intentions are right, you've got to stand up for yourself and be authentic. And acceptance is time taking. Like now I'm working on locusts, which I'm considering as a food resource, and I know like most people are not going to accept it because it is an insect. Only some people from Africa are having it as a food right now, but I'm pretty sure like people are going to accept it, maybe in different form, but that acceptance will be there, and you never got to give up. And thinking from various perspectives is helpful because I know many people are not even aware what a locust attack is from different parts of the world because it's only significant in like Africa and East Asian parts. But when you think from their side of view, it is like a big problem. So when you're working on a project, like try to think from different perspectives. And my suggestion is always peace. As Mother Teresa said, like, spread love wherever you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier, because discourse is at the heart of healing. And as Mama P says, it's hard to try and do nothing if your purpose is peace. So there's always some way you can contribute to peace. And I know we're all like different in different ways, but I believe that our differences are our unique treasures, because when you hang out with like different people from different communities, I think that is what gives you the diversity, that knowledge from different people, and always welcome that. And a tip is like, yeah, speak from your scars, not your wounds, because I think that will make you more think from your empathy, not like instant reactions. Like try to think from different perspectives. And my advice for beginners who are trying to like lead their projects is that figure out what do you love and what loves you back. Like you got to be good at that also. And wise man doesn't ask the right doesn't give right answers, but poses right questions. So try to find the right question, that's something you relate to and something that comes from within you and that has a cause. Like why is it bothering you? Something that has been affecting your life, and then try to make it solution driven and write down all the possible solutions that you can think of, no matter how crazy they are. And if someone is going to tell you about something, and if you are going to go and do it or read it, if you feel like you're willing to do that, then you share it to somebody else so that they will be interested about your work. Because storytelling and reflection that makes you think is really important, because that is something, the way you create awareness or reach out to people. And yeah, again, I cannot stress this enough. Just work for your purpose, not the output, and everything will fall in place. And one last thing I want to say is you're not defined by your work. Always remember that you're more than your project, because wherever I go, I guess I am recognized as like this national awardee child. And they're like, okay, you're the science kid. But I'm like, okay, I am a science kid, but I do lot other stuff. Like I volunteer for organizations, I play, I draw, and I work in arts, I carve, I sing. But you gotta have that faith in yourself that you're not defined by your project. It happens. Like people always get mistaken you like, okay, this is her, but you gotta know like what you're worth of and have that faith in yourself. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. If you have any questions, ask me, and you can follow me at Laya Pothunuri on Instagram for knowing about any of my work. And always feel free to drop an email for any help or any ideas or any collaborations or any networking. I'll always be there to help. So, yeah. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Leah. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat or on mic. That was so great, and I loved all the advice that you put in the end there. It touched my heart. So yeah, I'll wait for the questions to kind of come in the chat, and then I'll read them out. I actually have commentary on something while everyone's like thinking of their questions. I was so excited that you agreed to speak for our seminar here today. So I was reading, and I was so impressed by your bio. I was reading your bio to my mom because, you know, my family grew up in Iran, and my grandpa was like a crop farmer there. And he always tells me these stories of like how the locusts would just like swarm in and destroy everything. So I saw the project you were working on, so I read it to my mom, and I was like, wow, this reminds me of, you know, like my grandpa and everything. And she was like, yeah, but mostly he just focused on killing them. Like, it's really wonderful that there's someone out there that is trying to, you know, come up with a better solution that, as you said, is like a win-win. So I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, when I was reading that, I was like feeling really sad. Like, how can people die out of hunger, and how can only insecticides be the only solution? So we'll see. Fingers crossed, like how it goes. But yeah, I'm really trying to make it a possible solution.
So there's one question in the chat about about how you outreach. So you mentioned like social media a little bit, but how did she get her story out there? How did National Geographic find out about your project?
National Geographic didn't approach me by my social media. So as I told, I was working on low-cost vehicular exhaust filter. So that was, I gave that presentation at Hyderabad. I didn't win that competition, but there was scientist who has come from US who attended a wedding, and basically he got to know about a science fair that's going on. And he came there, and as I'm an enthusiastic kid, I was explaining with him with like all the energy I have, and he was really happy to see that. And he actually brought a video camera, and he recorded all the things I was saying. And like later when I asked National Geographic, they mentioned like his name, and then I was so surprised. Like he actually remembers me from 2015. It was 5 years ago, and yeah. So that is why wherever you go, that is what I said. Human connection beats everything. So it's just really important to like connect, have that rapport.
That's awesome. A question I have is, so you mentioned you're in Singapore right now for college. How did you end up there?
I was actually preparing for my JEE mains, like, you know, joint entrance examinations for National Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Technology, NITs and IITs that are very reputed institutes in India. I was like very dedicated to studying at IITs. But then, as I said, like when I received national award, and I went to receive that award, there were people like who acted as counselors between India and other abroad institutions, and they were like, you know, managing our applications and stuff. So they're like, are you interested to like study somewhere else and not here? And then I'm like, no, I'm preparing for IITs. They're like, okay, just apply and see. We'll just have it because you're a potential candidate. And then I'm like, okay. So I don't know anything. They just filled out like, they just asked about my information and they filled out my application. And during summer, I received like my college application acceptance from US universities and Singapore universities and everything. US was a no by my parents because it is very far from India. And then they were like, no, you are not coming once per year. You are going to Singapore is still okay. India is like the best. But US is like a no because you're only 17 years old and I'm very sure you're not going to survive by yourself. And then I'm like, okay, I just go to Singapore then.
Yeah, I relate to that one too. My parents don't want me to go too far. So there's a question. Can you speak a little bit more about your project with replacing plastics with 4D printed ceramics?
Yeah, sure. So this is about not completely plastic. So basically, it's 3D printing. 4D printing is something that is 3D printed, and the fourth dimension is given by heat or pressure or something that is external force. Okay. So for this 3D printing, there's a particular type of material that is used, which contains plastic and hydrogels. Like sometimes for 4D printing, you can use hydrogels as well. But when these materials are used, they like give a byproduct of some plastics, which is again like non-recyclable and not cannot be reused and stuff. So I figured out like, okay, this is like giving significant amount of plastics as a byproduct. So maybe we can make it more environment friendly. And I was thinking of like what could be the potential. So basically, it's something 3D printed is called clay. And why don't we just use natural clay? But natural clay is used for pottery and it is like very hard and it can't be 3D printed. So I was like, okay, maybe this should be made softer. And then I started using something that binds it, and we use acetic acid and chitosan mixture. Chitosan is like a chemical that is like very soft in nature. So I tried to add like some proportion, like 20-30% of that. But then what happened is that the clay started to like settle down when I started making the mixture in the lab. Then I'm like, okay, maybe something should be used as a binder. And for the binder, I was like looking what else could be done and what could be used and stuff. So then I found like, okay, why don't we use something that is like paper? But paper, you can't just put pieces of paper. So I was like, okay, maybe we should use like pieces of cardboard. And then where does this cardboard or anything come from? So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just use bamboo. So I actually told my prof, and then she was like, are you serious? And then I'm like, yeah, why don't we try it? Because they just use for manufacture of paper. So we ordered like 200 micrometer bamboo powder and we added it, and it acted as a binding material. So the clay didn't settle down. It helped keep the clay and chitosan and acetic acid together. And when we printed, like it actually gave the mesh shapes that I wanted. And for the 4D printing, like you can just take it into the oven and bake it at 1100 degrees Celsius in the heat. Yeah, and then like when the mesh is like this, it will like give a fourth dimension by the external pressure used. Yeah.
Wow. Another question in the chat is, have you had any experiences with people who don't agree with your project goals or don't see environmental issues as a priority? And how do you engage/impact those people and approach those conversations in the best way?
That is a very good question. Yeah, people really don't agree sometimes like with this environmental problems. Like even some of my friends, when I tell like, no, don't use that plastic bag, they're like, I'm not going to live after this century. Okay, I don't care. And they don't see it as a problem. But you can't just like force them. It should come from within them. You can only do like what you can. And I try to like tell people, and if they are not willing to listen, like I can't just force them. So I just like try to ignore them. I can only tell. I can't like force them to actually implement in their daily lives. Even if they can, they're not willing to. So that is not something I can. It is not that they can't afford or they're not accessible to such cloth bags or something. It's that they're not just willing to, or they don't care. And such conversations, like we can't just argue with such people. And yeah, some people don't see it as like the immediate goal, like they just see like iPhone 13 or iPhone 14 is like the immediate goal. They don't actually care about global warming and stuff, but that is really a problem, and that is going to affect. And there hasn't been any locust attack with such impact like it had been this year. Most of the agricultural crops were like swiped out, and it was even bad in North India as well. And it has even there was even an impact in Nepal and China, like for after so many years. And in Africa, it was so bad. So all this is because of global warming, because usually these swarms actually are in deserts, but they are moving to this climate because it's getting hotter in the deserts. So I think when you actually you can create awareness and you can try to explain them, but if they are not willing to, you can't just do anything. Just you can't just debate with them.
Yeah, I agree. So a question like about your locust research right now, is that ongoing, like during COVID and everything? Is everything, virtual, or has it been virtual from the start?
So actually, I started working during around February or March, and I was actually planning to go to Harvard during this summer and do some experiments on the locust, like get some insects of locusts and actually perform some experiments on them, like take the temperatures and see how much speed is required to actually capture them with nets and all. But then due to this pandemic, it has shifted online. So what I decided is like first I'll just work on like the nutritional facts and how they could be replaced, and sort of like give a multidisciplinary research paper and work out the calculations, like how efficient am I expecting it to be, how efficient is my experiment expected to be, and then perform my lab experiment and see how like they correlate. So I might perform my experiment next year, fingers crossed that also, like if pandemic goes by then. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, so a question about your locust reef project again. It says, I guess you might have answered a little part of this. What step of the project are you on right now? And then how do you collaborate with the professor virtually conducting labs, etc.? And how do you find him or her? How did you find him or her and develop a relationship with them? And also, like you said, many people may be opposed to eating locusts. Do you think that scientific research would be enough to change their opinions? Yeah.
Okay. So what step of the project am I right now? I'm writing a research paper, like I said, multidisciplinary, like the engineering aspect at what speeds and all, and the biological aspect, like which body parts can be affected by the light sensitive parts and light focused on them, and also like the temperature that is used to, at which they can be cooked and eaten. So it's mostly like a scientific calculation, numeric kind of stage. It's not in an implementation stage yet. And how do you collaborate with the professor virtually? Oh, so basically I just like write down all the calculations I've done, and he just goes through and then he says like any other idea he has. So as I said, first we found like robotic locust as a very crazy idea, and both of us started laughing when we were discussing. But then when I went online and started searching, there were actually people, I don't remember quite properly, but it was Australian professor or someone who was actually working on it. So no idea is crazy enough. So we actually talk like what else can be done, and we always keep exploring like what could be done, because we still have time to work in the lab. We got like one whole year. So I'm not yet working in the labs. It's just a scientific research paper. And how did you find him or her to develop a relationship? I think you are talking about the professor I collaborated with. And it is, I actually was trying to get an internship at that university basing on all my projects. And I somehow applied, and he reached out to me saying like, okay, I have senior projects and tell me about yourself. And then I told like, these are the projects I do. But then when I read his bio, he works in nanoscience technology, and I was like, okay, this is something I've never done and I'm not going to do. he was like, no, this is like something I do at the university. I even work at the environmental projects, and he sent me the links of the presentations he has given and the ideas he had. So that is something like how we had that relationship. How, like you said, many people may be opposed to eating locusts. Do you think that scientific research would be enough to change their opinions? No, that scientific research is definitely not going to be enough. That is what I was speaking to my mentor right now, like before this presentation. And my mentor says like, I'll have to collaborate with the governments first, where the problem is there, and like seek their permission and try to create. It's a very time-taking process, but my mentor was telling like first have the scientific research, then we'll look like the implementation, and if it works, then you actually capture the locus, and then is the eating part. So it was like it's a step-by-step process, and yeah, we'll see like how it goes. Meanwhile, we'll be trying to like increase the awareness. I already spoke to people from Africa, like some of my friends who are living there, and they actually eat it and they really like it. They said it's delicious, so it should be good.
Wow, yeah, it just reminds me of how there's a trend in America. I don't know if it's all over the world too, that people, you know, eat like air or fried crickets and bugs like that, and apparently
Yeah.
they're tasty.
They even have a recipe. He said like he'll be sharing, and I'm like, okay, wow, this is really going to help my project. Please do.
Yeah, awesome. And then we have a comment. This really is an amazing research that you're doing. We've had a desert locust problem in Kenya recently, and your project would be a huge help. And I guess you kind of answered this with your friends in Africa, but someone asked, can you ask if she has ever tried a locust and what it tastes like?
No, I haven't tried. I've never like even seen a locust because I am from India and I'm staying in Singapore. But after I come here, there was a locust attack in India, so I've never really experienced like, a locust attack. But I only spoke to like some people who actually tasted that and they said it tastes great. So hope for the best.
Another question we have is, what are some differences between Singapore's mindset towards environmental issues / conservation and India's mindset?
Okay, that's a very good question. And coming to Singapore, like the people here are really open-minded, I would say, and they're ready to like welcome any sort of idea that you're going to give without judging. But in India, I think it's a little more judgmental of what you're going to do, and they try to like less focus on the problem you're working on and more focus on like how you look, what you're going to do, what gender are you, and which community or background you come from. Like these are the issues that we were talking about today, right? The BIPOC and sustainability. So I think that conservative behavior is more in India, and Singapore is like more diverse, and there are Chinese, there's Malaysians, there's Indians, and so because of the diversity, I think people here are a bit more open-minded than Indians. And I also like a lot of greenery here, and I think they really love environment. So yeah.
That's super interesting. Maybe we could have one or two more questions in the chat. Oh, she says thank you.
Oh, thank you too.
This is just kind of curious, I guess. So you're in Singapore right now. Again, thank you for, you know, talking to us. I know it's like the middle of the night or something there.
Yeah, it's almost 2. It's fine. I don't early, so it's fine.
So are you quarantining away from your family then right now?
Yes. So I didn't go back home after December last year. I was supposed to go in March, but then because that was like the first COVID phase that's happening, there were a lot of cases in southern India. But then they allowed to go there, but I would have to be there for 14 days in Chennai and then travel back to India. But the holidays I had were like only 1 week. So it's pointless like staying 2 weeks in quarantine and 1 week at home. So I didn't go. I thought like I'll just go directly in summer when the COVID disappears. But then it just got worse and they asked me not to travel like this whole academic year anywhere because Singapore government is like really strict and they're trying to contain it here. They brought down the cases from 900 cases per day to now it's like 2 per day or 4 per day.
Wow.
Really
Wow.
strict here.
That's wonderful. Good job to the Singaporean government.
Yeah.
So if no one else has questions in the chat, I'll just leave it open for maybe a minute or more. But thank you so much, Laya, for coming and speaking to us. All your research, I think for everyone is super interesting, and it gives at least me hope for the future that there's people like you, integrating, the sustainable mindset into every career that they're interested in. So yeah, thank you again. If no one else has any questions, I guess we'll say goodbye for today, and please tune in to our last seminar, which is going to be next Friday at the same exact time. We're going to be talking about environmental sustainability in government and, businesses as well in the private sector. So yeah, thank you guys all for coming, and thank you, Laya, again, and put your Instagram and on our website so people can keep up with you and what you do. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.